Okay, chat, let's see this. Riot's Vanguard comes to League. It's going to be about that time, and I must once again extend to you our quadrennial anti-cheat greetings. I am Raj of Penguins, an anti-cheat artisan with lifetime 85 million bans served. And I'm manifesting today to talk to y'all about Vanguard. You actually may have already suffered through our, I don't like the way this guy types, through our law anti-cheat literature in the past, and here is some of the recommended prerequisite reading. Feel free to skim through it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm reading the important bits here. Anti-cheat is a shadowy game. The darkness we usually operate in has the unfortunate side effect of generating a lot of confusion, concern, and frankly, misinformation. The way that I understand anti-cheat from a lot of like the videos and online articles about it is it's basically just an arms race between the anti-cheat maker and the cheat developers. So only the richest companies can afford to participate in that arms race. And that's why one of the greatest like plagues of a smaller studio that's trying to make an FPS game, or really just any PvP game at all, but specifically FPS game, is if you're a smaller studio and you don't have the money of like EA or Riot or any of these massive companies like Valve, you won't have enough money to participate in that arms race to compete. And so your game is going to be plagued with hackers. And there's really nothing you can do about it until you get a really expensive and really extended anti-cheat team. So the games where the anti-cheat is really good, it's like you don't really even notice because it's like everything is working as intended. But then you have to play a game with a lot of cheaters, and you'd be like, oh, okay, like that's like actually the majority of the FPS titles out there that have just like, they just die because they can't fight the rampant cheating. Okay, so the news of Vanguard in law was certainly divisive. After all, the majority of players aren't cheating. Well, yeah, that makes sense. No one is exactly thrilled at the notion of installing more stuff solely because cheaters can't figure out how to fight fair. Yeah. League of Legends is a fairly secure video game. The server simulates the entirety of the game state, and the client is only responsible for making requests to it, often referred to as... Hold on one sec, let me make sure I have the right runes and shit in this game, because I am in Champ Select. And I would not want to fuck this up. Okay, we're chilling. Often referred to as an authoritative model, it essentially means that our server is the final arbiter of truth. And, okay, this is also another thing that happens quite a lot in specifically like MMOs and RPGs, is like there's a huge difference between like server side and client side sort of like authority, I guess. I don't really know what the right word is for it, but essentially back in the day, a lot of the games would like trust the user. And so you could just go into your game files and configure it. So, I start off at my character's level 99 and I have 20 billion HP and 50,000 dexterity. And you could just like cheat the game by just editing a couple lines in your files. I used to do that shit all the time in single player games. And some multiplayer games actually had that problem too. One of them that comes to mind is when I played New World. And there was some really fucking goofy shit going on in New World. Well, first off, there was like duping of golden items. And second off, in New World, this is like New World is like an MMO with focus, I guess, on like PvP and the economy and like controlling areas of the map, controlling areas of the server. And people would just do crazy shit in like chat. They would like crash people's computers, and you could like link stuff in the chat that it wasn't text, it was like images. It was just like really insane stuff that was overlooked by Amazon. So basically he's saying that League is relatively secure. Scripting developers create platforms that are essentially wrappers for the LoL client. They rebroadcast the game as an event stream and allow the user to create, or more likely copy and paste, a selection of scripts that automate certain behaviors in response to these events. The end result is usually a frame-perfect Zeri kiting on what appears to be a near-lethal dose of caffeine or a god-touched Cassiopeia that, through the power of prayer, has has been rendered untouchable by any skill shot. It's not fun to play against cheaters, and worse, once you know scripts are out there, it's hard not to suspect other players of using them. You know, I actually have this. I have this like same phenomenon happening right now with Valorant, and it's funny. It's because another Vanguard game. Valorant is Vanguard's first game that Riot developed it specifically to fight cheating in Valorant. And what I've noticed is like when there's an uptick of cheaters, it's really hard for you not to suspect that the top frag on the enemy team is cheating. It's really, really hard because once you just get an inkling, like once you get like one instance of like, oh, this guy's probably cheating, now all of like your suspicion levels are like increased. So before where you just say, oh, this guy's having the game of his life, this guy's having, a really solid game. Now you're starting to think like, oh, is he walling? Is he like, how are they so aware? And then you start suspecting those guys where normally you never would. So it's kind of like a snowball effect of just like playing against like one or two people who are scripting in League or cheating in an FPS game. Then you will start being so suspicious and paranoid that everyone is cheating. And it really ruins your behavior. It really ruins your experience because now it's like you just feel like such a huge percentage of your games are unfair or might have been unfair. And it feels really lame. Not everyone is that as good as cheating. I mean, like I'm not trying to like sound like a fucking scrub here, but like my stack is like the average rank of our stack is like Immortal 3. Like there's multiple Radiants and there's multiple Immortal players in our stack. We're not scrubs. Like we obviously know the game, and it's still really, really hard not to be suspicious of some people. Okay, so let's see here. Scripter persistence. Our first problem is that cheating is addictive. And scripters are persistent. Yeah, I mean, it's a business. It's a business. I would not be surprised if people make millions of dollars selling cheats in games. Millions and millions. Like, it's crazy to me that there's such a market for it. But at the same time, I guess I'm not that surprised. Like, people are willing to pay to take shortcuts in everything. So I'm not that surprised. Just, we all know, like, I think like 99.9% of us watching right now think that like people who script in League and people who cheat in FPS games and really just cheat in any game are like losers, right? Those guys are losers straight up. And it's just like that one out of every like 100 players or one out of every like 500 players that is doing this, ruining for everyone else. Scum of the earth. Yeah, it's just like fucking disgusting. LoL is a free-to-play game, and one ban is never enough. That's why in Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike CS:GO used to cost like $15, right? And I'm trying to remember what happened. It went free-to-play, and to combat cheaters, I think they have some sort of measure where if you play, it doesn't help. By the way, like there's still a shit ton of cheaters in matchmaking. What did they do? They did something where you had to hook it up to your phone number, or maybe you had to pay something that created a little bit of a barrier. It still wasn't enough. Regular suspensions have stood up a saturated secondary account market, and the barrier to reentry is only the cost of a fresh level 30, which at the time of this article is about $1.99 with the side of large fries. Yep, true. I can confirm. I went to these websites. You can buy a bronze account in League for like $4. It's very, very cheap. This type of quantity over quality pricing strategy is made possible because, you guessed it, the accounts themselves are leveled by scripting applications, resulting in a loop that allows cheaters to iterate against us indefinitely. Oh, wow. When you put it that way, it sounds like really hopeless, right? League, games with a cheater weekly. Percentage of games globally played with a scripter or a bot. Take a look at this. Percentage of games, 15%? Wait, what? 15% peak in 2023? Wait, this is less than a year ago. Even right now, it's like 8%. This is 4 months ago. Wow. Okay, so it started out 2 years ago in 2022, it started out at like 1%. And it ended up going insane. And I can say definitively, like just for personal experience, that seems right. I think the rate of people cheating in League has increased dramatically in the last couple years. I refuse to believe I had cheaters in my shit plat games. See, this is actually the biggest cope that people have. I think like there's like two sides of this equation is like some people feel like, oh man, there's no way I play against cheaters. I'm in bronze. Who's cheating in bronze? And it's like, well, a bronze player is cheating in bronze. And for them, it's like a way for them to have more fun while ruining it for everyone else. And they're probably going to still stay close to bronze. Maybe they went from bronze to silver. Maybe they went from iron to bronze, and now they're in your elo. And they are scripting. They're just so bad at the game that even with a superpowered version of an iron player is still a bronze player. And then another thing that people sometimes think about is like, sometimes people give a pass to like amateur players. They're like, that guy would never cheat. Why would a pro player, why would a top player in the craft ever cheat? And that's like the appeal to like, guys, like I'm like a fucking top player myself. Why would I ever cheat? And it's like, well, a lot of the times top players do cheat in like speed running and in a lot of things, like fucking, I'm sure in like regular sports as well. I'm sure there's tons of people who've gotten their like Olympic medals stripped away because like that's like the 5 or 10% edge that they need to become a champion. So yeah, I mean, I think like people cheat at all ranks basically. Wouldn't be shocked if it addressed it in this article. CSGO LAN cheaters are back in the day, yeah. I don't feel like I've seen a scripter in years, but I definitely play less the last couple of years. Yeah, it's weird because like you think that a scripter is someone who dodges every single skill shot, right? But what about a guy who has the app the cheat program installed and just turns on the dodge script for one team fight? Do you really think that you would notice that? That's still cheating, and that still gives them a crazy advantage. For one team fight, they played mechanically perfect and can't be hit by a skill shot. Are you really going to detect that? It's the same thing in FPS games when people have like an aimbot or like maybe even like walls, and they only toggle it on for a portion of the game, just enough to get an edge where they're like pretty likely to win. I think it's really, really hard for you to say like, oh, I've never played against a cheater in League. Scripters are that smart. They are, yes. They're not. They are that disciplined, guys. They're not stupid. They're not going to get mass reported every single game. They're going to, like, not every single cheater is going to just have that shit on perma scripting from level 1 to level 18. In recent months, as many as 1 in 15 games globally has a scripter or botter in it. But in some regions, this number is as high as 1 in 5. I'm going to imagine those regions are the like non-major regions. So like China, Vietnam, maybe like Brazil, Latin America, or something like that, because I'm not really sure why it is, but it seems a lot more prevalent. Like, I don't think 1 in 5 would happen in NA. That's just my gut feeling. I've been downing this breeder for the past 2 hours. Yeah, I have. Cheating isn't really region specific. Cheaters just go wherever cheating is easiest. In Eastern countries, we see high rates of scripting because they're getting spillover from cheaters in China and Korea, both of which have region-exclusive anti-cheats and, more importantly, identity requirements for gaming from their regional governments. Okay. That would make sense. In Eastern countries, there's high rates of scripting. I guess in other regions, there's other rates of like high rates of other stuff. It's only worth making cheats if there's glory worth stealing. So attempts at cheating are actually the sign of a successful competitive environment. Whoa. However, this is far too many for a game with Olympic level ambitions. And if we want the win to mean something, we must protect its integrity. That is a really almost like a philosophical statement here. Basically, he's saying that it's not really worth it. Like, people only cheat in games where it's worth cheating in. And because League is like a game with a lot of like stakes and it's a competitive game. It's a game that people value being good at. Well, people are going to attempt to cheat. So it's actually kind of like almost he's like saying like, yo, my job, it's hella important, guys. We need me. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Analysis from Wish. Scripter effectiveness. The second problem is that scripting is rather effective, and to their credit, scripters have gotten quite good at playing without the use of their hands. Wait a sec. I might have gotten a few scripters in my team. When piloted optimally, scripter win rates hover around 80% in ranked games. Continue propelling their unyielding supply of accounts to the ladder. I mean, yeah, it's probably infinite fucking accounts, right? The polyphonic rainbow you're now bearing witness to is the percentage of ranked games completed with a cheater, bucketed by what tier the scripter was in at the end of the game. You're reading that correctly. More than 10% of Masters Plus games had a cheater in them. Even Challenger, which we manually audit on regular cadence, has suffered from a significant number of cheaters. Wow. Wow. Let me see this again. So Masters and Grandmasters have the highest rate of cheating. Challenger is kind of down there with everyone else, but still, I'm looking at like 5% a lot of the time, and then sub 5% pretty recently, but like only gotten cleaned up within that last year. I mean, it peaked for a whole year. 2022 to 2023, that was 10% of games, bro. 1 in 10. Interesting. I don't really like the colors. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what the fuck's going on in there, but we can't see how the trend continues because the current anti-cheat is broken. Okay, so League has been surviving right now on an anti-temper called Pac-Man. However, due to an unrelenting volley of cheats and bans, the anti-cheat technology space moves at recursive light speed. After factoring in for a hyperbaric time dilation... Okay, this guy's... I hate the way this guy types. Like, he's just like waffling, bro. He's just yapping. He's just like making a joke. You know? He just is yapping and making... It's all good. It's all good. Pac-Man's primary objective is to make analysis of the game binary... Wait. It's just to make analysis of the game binary more difficult. This includes hiding the anti-cheat detections that it depends to a game client. The problem is that dumping the deobfuscated game binary and bypassing the anti-cheat checks are now something closer to a training exercise, and it's one that's only been made potentially easier by the breach earlier last year. Pac-Man was never meant to last this long, and iterating on it has become prohibitively expensive. Oh shit. I see. So it's becoming like less and less good. Okay, that makes sense. Gotta upgrade. So Vanguard here. Best anti-cheat is fastest anti-cheat. I have heard this, by the way, that this whole thing is a cat and mouse game, or it's like an arms race between the developer and the cheaters. It's funny. By uncoupling ourselves from the game client, moving more of Vanguard to the server, we can deliver different checks to riskier players, making our intrusion detection far more targeted and much faster. Time to action, League and Valorant. Number of ranked games per cheater before ban. So in Valorant, it started at 30 games before they got banned. And then it went all the way down to about 15. And in League, it started at 23 and it's now at 38. So it's getting worse in League. That's still a lot of games to be cheat. I mean, like, I know that it's not as simple as like just ban the cheaters forehead. Why can't Riot ban cheating? But like, that's still a lot of games to ruin. It has become so large a chore to stay undetected that most cheaters don't even bother. Instead, they rage for a few games and get banned just as nature intended. Nice. Nice. That's exactly how I want it. Where Vanguard starts to further distinguish itself from other anti-cheats is in its enforcement of security standards even further to the left of the game client. So on the operating system itself, several of these requirements aren't totally frictionless, but they may inflict many hurdles onto those that want to distribute cheats successfully. For this reason, we're constantly having to make trade-offs for the security of the game versus the ease with which players can access it. Okay, I don't think I care that much about like all of the details. I think what people really have this have a problem with these really sort of like deeply rooted anti-cheats in your PC is two things. The anti-cheat starts the second that you start your computer. And people don't like that there's essentially a process running in the background of your PC, whether or not you're playing the game that it's intended to protect. The second thing that people don't like is that it could, I think, in theory, like access a lot of the information in your computer because it has like the authority to do that. I don't really know the details of this. People definitely talk a lot about it, so I just kind of believe what people say online. That, you know, there's a capability for this anti-cheat to be used in like a nefarious way. They go into both of it later in the article. Okay, let's see. Why is it always on? Vanguard is not really running all the time. The driver loads at boot, but nothing is making calls to it, and there's no network connectivity until you run one of Riot's games. It's literally just sitting there menacingly. So it can attest to the fact that nothing's happened between Windows loading and the game starting that would break the operating system. When you launch League, the Vanguard client contacts the driver to confirm it thinks everything is 100%. If so, you receive a valid anti-cheat session and may connect to the game server. That makes sense. Instructions from the client then start enabling features within the driver to watch for things that might tamper with signed League process and prevent them. You can always disable the driver whenever you'd like. You'll just need a fresh reboot to recertify the integrity of the trust chain before you jump into game. Excuse me. As Vanguard rolls out to League, we'll see a dramatic decrease in the number of cheaters, but fun doesn't have to stop there. With heightened VM prevention, we will drive up the cost of botting and inflict significant friction onto reoffenders. Bot supply for boosted accounts will dry up. Bypassing bans will no longer be buy another level 30. With its device fingerprinting, Vanguard will also gives us a renewed opportunity to sink teeth into boosting, smurfing, and account compromise. We'll be able to revoke rewards boosters didn't deserve, get smurfs to their proper rating faster, and maybe even invalidate unfair pre-mates. Increased client security and less scripting means that the League team will be able to leverage more mechanically rewarding designs like combos, timing windows, and executes. What? I don't think that a better anti-cheat is going to change how people design champs, guys. That's copium. That's copium. We're not changing like design of a champion. Like Freak is not out there like tinkering with a champ's kit, and he's like, oh, but what if this champion had a cheater piloting it? Really makes you think, huh? Fuck it, we'll just make him brain dead. Ranked statistics won't be as poisoned by scripters, facilitating easier balancing of high risk and high reward champions, and games ruined by cheaters can eventually be undone, returning LP to those affected. That's a big one. I like that about Valorant too, is like when a cheater's detected, the game refunds the people's LP who got fucked over by the cheater. I know it's hard to be delighted about new anti-cheat, but this is the hardest part. It's only up and to the right from here. Until next time. Okay, the Vanguard team is up now, 30 people. Cheaters are always working against us. Let's read this part about Vanguard being spyware. No, but I'm sure those words in that exact order are mathematically the fastest way to farm retweets. Content algorithms everywhere are programmatically addicted to clicks to the clicks. What? Dude, I am having a brain fart. Content algorithms everywhere are programmatically addicted to the clicks the words spyware or rootkit can generate. Okay, that took me a bit. And mathematically hunting for their next fix has steered them away from informative journalism into dude, this is getting like way too yappy about this is getting kind of preachy, you know what I mean? Like I just want to know if it's spy, like, you know, what is it really doing? Each region must adhere to its own specific policy and regulatory requirements. Tencent, for example, has their own anti-cheat for games operating in their region, including Riot's titles, for which they are the Chinese publisher. And while we do share cheats we find so that our respective teams can make detections for them, we have no need to share anything else. We've met with Tencent's anti-cheat team maybe 3 times in a decade, and the only thing we exchanged were high fives and band counts. They won both contests. Well, yeah, I mean, they have like a million more players. Sorry, not a million, like 50 million more players. We don't share Vanguard or its code, and anti-cheat data has never left Riot's warehouse. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think like people who are super paranoid that like your PC's data and like browsing history and stuff like that is going to get leaked to China, and Tencent is gonna harvest all that stuff and somehow fuck you over. We already lost is the best way I can describe it. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that like my shit is safe and like fucking my, you know, when I go to like Instagram, I get an ad about like fucking like baby stuff, because me and Lena sometimes talk about having kids. And it's like, we already lost, you know, like my phone is listening to me, and when it's off in my pocket about like what I'm saying. It's like we already fucking lost. I don't really care. Basically, that's my point. Like, I want to sit down on my PC. I want to play games. I want to have a good time. I don't care if like fucking Google and Facebook and Twitter and like, but even if I don't care, I truly just don't think that Riot is going to let that happen. Maybe I'm just super naive. Like, I think that if Riot let that happen, if they let their anti-cheat, if they sold the data from their anti-cheat and it got leaked, it would be so devastating to their reputation. No one would trust Riot ever again. And in a way, I believe that Riot is selfish enough, protective enough of their reputation. Like, this is not like that they're an altruistic, like benevolent company that is just like so charitable. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that Riot is selfish enough to never let that happen. Because if it got out, if one guy within the company, like a disgruntled employee, knew about it and left the company and leaked it to a journalist site, or somebody somehow found that out, it would ruin their reputation. They would never, ever gain the trust of their community ever again. Like, it's like the end of their reputation if that happens. And that is maybe, you know, maybe I'm being like way too optimistic about that. But I believe that they would never do that, just because it's way too much of a risk for them as a business. What data could they possibly have that'll force them to take action on? Wait. We can't let China win, brother. Yo. G-Breezy. Stop typing. We're not reading essays. There are 100K bounties sponsored by Riot for Vanguard vulnerability detection. That's not what people are talking about. So what people are talking about is, would Riot use their own anti-cheat for nefarious purposes? Would they scrape the data from their users' PCs and sell it off to China? And then China is gonna take over the world with all this information. It's like, bro, like, fuck it. Take my browsing history. I don't care. I just want to play games where there's no cheating. I couldn't care less, bro. Like, fucking, like, the worst thing that could happen is, I guess, like, my fucking like social security number and like my credit card info go to China, and then it's fucked. So far I don't think that that's happened, but you know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Speak for yourself. See, that's actually the other part of it. It's like, if you don't, I guess if you're not okay with it, then you can't play the game, which really sucks. But I feel like it's a necessary evil. Oh my god, my data is leaked. You uninstalled when it was announced. But I'm just curious, like, why? Like, so for the people, I'm trying to understand the other side of the like fence, I guess. So it, like, for the people who like really strongly think, you know, this is a line that is like, I'm not willing to cross. Why? are you afraid? Like, what are you afraid of? People who strongly think probably have things like crypto information on their PC. Okay. Okay. I mean, actually, I didn't think about that. I did not think about that. Some people have their life savings and that information, and it's like they're, some people, like literally, some people have their life savings in a notepad somewhere. That's their, crypto wallet information. Okay. See, I didn't even think about that. Like, I'm open to learning about other, different opinions. You shouldn't be. I mean, but yeah, but like maybe they shouldn't be doing that. But I think that's a real reason. That's like keeping money on your mattress. I mean, if I was somebody who had my life savings in crypto and my information was on my PC, I could definitely see myself being uncomfortable. Like whether or not that's a good decision, yeah, I mean, like everyone's allowed to make their own decision. Then I'd probably uninstall League and Valorant. I would. I'm afraid of my credit card info getting leaked or my social number being used as identity theft. See, I guess like to fight like that point, I feel like every single thing that you sign up for online, like you hook up your credit card information to like Venmo, to fucking Amazon. When you buy RP, you punch in your credit card information. Like there's so many ways, there's so many vulnerabilities that like that could be the random website, like I remember like a long ass time ago, I signed up for a VPN on some like random ass website. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this website had like dog shit security. And, later on I had to like, deal with an identity theft situation. I went back and I thought like, okay, so like which one of these websites was it? And I looked through the list of shit that I had hooked my credit card up to. And it was like, I had like punched in my credit card info to like 100 different websites. Now, if you're like really, really conservative with that kind of stuff where you never put your credit card information in, I could see that. I could see it, but the way I see it is like this is just like one more in a fucking gigantic mountain of potential vulnerabilities for my credit card. Yeah, like I get my social security. Dude, fuck it. At this point, if somebody in chat walked up to me asking for my social security number, I might just give it to you. Honestly, it's just like it's just out there, Like I fucking punch my social security in when I get coffee in the morning. Like that shit is just out there. it's no secret, I like put that shit in like so many random online forums. At this point, I don't even know what it's like normal and to do it and what not to do it. Yeah, hold on. Write this down. 69, 420. Fuck you. What about false positives? Okay, let's read this part and then we're gonna go back to solo queue. Players claiming a false ban are in one of 7 categories, ordered here by likelihood. I'm not even gonna look. I'm gonna say the first one is they cheated and they just are bitching. They are presenting a fictional narrative. Fucking nailed it. That is the number one most common story I see on Reddit. Like, oh my god, the big bad company, they banned me for literally nothing. I've never touched anything ever. And then somebody in that Reddit thread, dude, is such a classic internet moment. Somebody in that Reddit thread will then look that account up on like a cheating website or like a real money transaction site where like you can buy items for money, which is against TOS. They'll look that guy's username up and be like, hey, is this you? And then everyone in the comments afterwards will be like, get fucked, idiot. Like it's so much like just like justice boner when that happens. It happens all the time. They tested a cheat on a Smurf, poisoning their main through hardware linking, known internally as whoopsie daisies. Oh, yeah, also known as Laura from CSGO. She's an absolute culprit of this. Always downloading cheats on people's accounts. Those poor innocent souls. They shared their account with someone who cheated, usually a paid boosting service or a relative. They repeatedly queued with a booster that used cheats and ate a 180-day ban for their trouble. That's funny. That's funny. Their account was stolen by a serial rage hacker who used it to torture other players for exactly 6 games. That has happened to me. That has happened to me. People, I don't know how, but my account got fucking, my main account in League got hacked, and they ran it down for like 5 games. They used cheating software for another game, and Vanguard unfortunately picked it up. Okay. I mean, then fuck you. Like, anyways, if you cheat another game, fuck you. They had malware installed that performs the same operations as a cheat. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that they tried to cheat or that they like just like accidentally installed fucking RuneScape, a bad version of it? In the account compromise cases, we try to place protective suspensions on the accounts. Though we are not always fast enough, sometimes the damage is too great a percentage of the account's playtime and it becomes difficult to identify any sort of true owner. With hardware level cheating, we can't always tell which game you intend to cheat on, so it's our firm recommendation that you just not cheat on any game. For genuine false positives, usually caused by malware, we completely revert the rule that caused them after analysis. Hold on, let me just back up a little bit. I think that for the games with a very, like, for the games with a really, like, godlike anti-cheat, so I think Apex is one of them, and Riot with Valorant is another one of them. Valve definitely doesn't make the cut, from what I've heard. But for the ones with the godlike anti-cheat, I think it's kind of like that whole no-fly list thing. Wait, Apex? Apex Apex anti-cheat is terrible. Oh shit, I forgot. Apex has horrible. Wait, guys, Apex has the cheat where they had a fucking tournament, and someone logged in they beamed cheats to an innocent player. I'm not even kidding. Like a competitor had like aimbot, but he didn't download it. It got beamed to his fucking game by a cheater. Okay, wait. So which game has a good anti-cheat? Which game has a good anti-cheat other than Valorant? That Howl clip, yeah. Siege, Fortnite, PUBG, not PUBG, bro. Dude, it's tough. Okay, whatever. I hope in the future, maybe this is too optimistic for me to say right now. It's too optimistic. I hope in the future, Chess has a terrible anti-cheat. You can have the vibrating butt plug anytime. It'll fucking work 99% of the time. If it's like with flying and the no-fly list. I think someday, if you're a little shithead on an airline, I hope that you get permabanned on every airline, not just the one where you were a shithead on, right? And I hope the same thing about pretty much about cheating in games. Like, I think if you're a shithead and you're like fucking aimbotting in one game, if there is irrefutable evidence that you did that, I think you should get banned on like pretty much every game. Cause fuck you. That's why. But it's like too hard to implement right now. We're still in like, gaming's almost like infancy. No fly lists are sadly usually airline specific. Yeah. No, I know, but like, I hope that it becomes like that someday. Fuck learning from your mistake. Dude, come on. Like, come on. Like, what, dude, just no. you downloaded the cheat, you're like fucking playing the game with it, bro. Like this is not something where it's just like, oops, I messed up. Sorry. With hardware level cheating, okay, let's see here. Already read that. Okay, so here we go. Why not just sue cheat developers? I read an article, this is happening in China. I read an article about Chinese cheat companies sued. Wait, game. Dude, fuck. I saw it on Reddit, but where is it? Oh, here it is. No, this is not it. This is not the one. Wait, what the fuck? Luxury sports cars were among the expensive assets seized by Chinese police. Said the world's biggest video game cheating ring? Wait a sec. Daily Mail. Wait a second. What the fuck am I doing? Why am I sitting here with you guys? I could be making cheats. I could be getting Lambos like these guys. Damn, I didn't know it paid that good. Jesus. Okay, says, oh, for sure, we do that when we need to, and our legal team couldn't be more hyped to defend Riot's experiences, but with Vanguard, few developers have had the persistence necessary to ever warrant it. Most don't attempt bypasses, and those that do usually give up sheepishly. returning 1 or 2 basic anti-cheat volleys, and the unrelenting exit scams also kind of do hard work for us by sowing distrust in the cheating community and reducing the likelihood that larger resellers ever really become a problem. With the right anti-cheat posture, it is rare that sufficient business forms around any one provider to justify a lawsuit. Right now, the majority of our legal efforts are directed towards advertisements for malware masquerading as an aimbot. Huh, interesting. Oh, okay. So people are selling aimbot. They're like, "Yo, dude, check out. It's fucking this is heroin and it's actually like something it's like fucking like sugar pills, or in this case it's just malware, and it doesn't even do its job as an aimbot." Nah, bro. Cheaters they can't just keep taking these L's. It's Vent. Why not create a game mode for cheaters? Cheaters Island sounds very amusing, but we have chosen instead to spend all our engineering time on just preventing the cheats in the first place. Yeah, this is something that people have been talking about. So like, what happens when you detect a cheater and instead of banning them from the game, you only let them queue against other cheaters? And what I would say to that is, I want to spectate that so bad. I want to spectate a game of 10 scripters, and I want to see what happens so badly. Like, I'm begging you, right? Just do this for me. Like, just do it. I'm on my knees. That's crazy content. Like, what happens when your script? It's like that old TV show BattleBots, where people are like coming up with their own little fucking like little race cars with like fucking knives and like flamethrowers and shit, and just like seeing who can make the best cheats. No one hits anything, or everyone hits everything. It's like, dude, it's gonna be crazy. We don't have infinite money and using resources. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Why not AI anti-cheat? Don't care. If Vanguard is so good, why do I still see cheats in Valorant? I would love to read this one, actually. Love to read this one. For starters, we do not action every cheater account instantly. Every ban is like broadcasting a signal to the developer that their cheat has been detected and that they need to update it. Yeah, this is actually something that people talk about all the time. It's like, the second you detect a cheater, why are you not just fucking banning them? It's obvious. And it's like, to the developer, it's obvious, but they don't want the cheat maker to know like, oh, they tweaked this one thing, they turned this knob, and then everyone got banned. Okay, now they know to avoid turning that knob, or they learn a little bit more about like the anti-cheat measures from the developer. So yeah, they learn what they need to update. And in order to slow the progression of our cheat arms race, we delay bans based on the sophistication and visibility of the cheat and cheater respectively. But also, cheater's going to cheat. We've really driven our preventative layer as far as we can feasibly go without colliding with existing setups and hurting legit players. We'll detect them soon enough, but not before they snap a video and repeatedly drop it on TikTok for the highest ad to malware click-through rate ever before realized. And just because it says live does not mean you're watching a live stream. Don't download garbage. Yeah. This actually reminds me of a video that I have. So let's see here. Wait, hold on. Doublelift script. Well, maybe like this. I just have to show you guys how crazy some of these scripts are. Like, I can't imagine coding this.
I just wanted attention, but it's fucking
Isn't this just like
crazy the way his game looks? It's like super zoomed out, which is, and like it gives him all info. Like,
I cannot understand this. It's so sophisticated.
CD, flash.
It's so sophisticated. How can you play like this even?
Summoners, CDs, what they level.
Let's see. What was this? Like, I can't tell what the fuck is even going on. Do you guys think that this is even helpful to see everyone's individual? I mean, it is helpful, but like, it's visual cancer.
Wow, he's dog shit.
Wow, he's dog shit.
Beating someone who's cheating their ass off. Like, look at.
Oh. Bro has weak auras on? Yeah. Anyways, let's go back to solo queuing. The no fog of war is the most OP part. Is it no fog of war for real? I think there is fog of war. I think there is. I think there is fog of war. It's just that the game, like the script is telling him where people were last seen. And it's even saying, like, down here, it's saying, like, where this guy was. What the fuck? Is this, like, Jungle Tracker, Blue Side Raptors? Oh my god. It's, like, fascinating to watch. It really is. Dude, what is this? On the top left. What is this? Aurora Orb settings. Hold position radius, extra windup time, farming extra delay. Kiri's recall kit. Target anti-AFK humanizer. What is a humanizer? Mode combo last hit lane clear, harass, freeze, support, and flee. Dude, what is this? Visuals. So visuals, target selector, Aurora Orb, evade, Lord's Pred, marksman utility. This is like fascinating stuff. Okay, here's actually what I think though. I think that if I downloaded this cheat right now and I started playing with it in Challenger, I think I would maybe play worse. I think I might play worse. Obviously, I would play better in certain team fights and all-ins where I'm unhittable with skill shots. It would just like dodge for me and I would never get hit. But it's just like too weird. It's just too much. I mean, how can you play like this? Look at his screen, bro. What the fuck is going on? What is this champion? There's a champion right here. Right here in the middle. There's a champion. I think there might be two champions. Who are they? I can't tell. Literally. I cannot tell you who they are. Okay, it's a Nautilus and a Tristana. Okay, I literally couldn't see. Like, it's fucking impossible. It looks like my last team fight in the Kaisen game. Yeah, it does. It really does. It's actually fascinating. He cheats and he still dies. That's actually a great thing about League. You can outplay people with just your brain. You don't need crazy mechanics.